Hi, it's Raquel with a new video. This time we're looking at centerpieces, and I'm going to do 3 videos on centerpieces. This first one is going to be about scaling. So I've got 7 different centerpieces here, including the dreaded 3 balloons on a weight. And the scale that I have on these is a 1:2. In other words, every inch in here represents 2 feet. So in my ratios for balloon spreadsheet, which will be included in the download bundle I will have available on Etsy, let me scoot this over a little bit here. If the drawing says 2.5 inches, in reality it's 60 inches. So we can take a look at the table right here, and we can see that it's 2.5 inches here and 1.21 inches tall. So what that means is on the drawing, if it's 1.2 inches, it's about 29 inches high, which I found banquet tables could be anywhere from 28 inches to 30 inches, so I thought 29 was a good size. Okay, so we're going to talk about scaling here. So right now I have all of my elements ungrouped. Yes, I have all my elements ungrouped right now, so if I were to try to move something, they wouldn't stay together, just so you know. Alright, so the table. How did I make the table? The table is pretty easy. It is simply a rectangle, like that. And then I control the size here. I think the size, what did we say, 1.21 inches by 2.5. And then the top part is simply an oval. So let's go ahead and do an oval here. And the oval will also be 2.5 wide, so it'll fit right on here. And depending on how you move that, it will change basically the perspective of the table. That would be if you were a super tall person looking down on it. Let's see, if you were a shorter person, maybe, or you were more at eye level. If you wanted to be even lower, that would be a different perspective on there. Okay, so that's how I make the table, and then I can just group that together, just like that. So this would be a 60-inch round. If we went with a 72-inch round, let's see, in reality, if it was 72 inches, it would be 3 feet in the drawing. So I could take this, and I could lock my aspect ratio and change the width to 3 inches, and now that's like a 72-inch banquet, round banquet table if it were a larger one. Alright, so that's lesson 1 on scaling. The second one is, let's talk about the height of the centerpiece. Okay, again, this is for every inch here it's 2 feet. So looking at this centerpiece right here, I'm going to go ahead and group it for just a moment. I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to group it, and that shows me the height is 4.08 inches. So we go over here, and if in the drawing it shows 4.08 inches, in reality, this is actually feet right here. I did a little conversion. It's just over 8 feet tall. So that's how tall that centerpiece is. So this one here, we can go ahead and group it for just a moment. Does that show me here? My selection? I think that's 2. Yeah, it shows the selection right there. I just learned something new. So 2.5 feet, again, is 5 feet tall. So this one right here, if I select it, is 1.82 inches. So 1.82, that is just over 3.5 feet tall. So that's how you can scale these if you want something shorter or taller. So let's say the client really liked this scaling. You can click on an individual balloon, and you can see that the width of the balloon is 0.37 inches. So we can go over here, and if the drawing says 0.37 inches, I can see that's just over almost a 9-inch balloon, 8.8 inches. So like I said, just under 9 inches for each of these balloons here. If they like this this ratio, this perspective. If they wanted it a little bit smaller, we can group that. We can come up here and do a lock aspect ratio, and we can, let's say you want to make it maybe not quite so tall, so we've shrunk it down 90 by 10%. Now you can select just that one balloon. It's 0.33 inches. Go back to our table here. Now that's just under 8 inches. Okay, so that's how we can do some scaling there. Remember when you're doing these centerpieces to keep, get that back center, that just bothers me when they're not centered. Remember the rules of design where the space right in here, if people were sitting here, you need to be able to let them see across. So this one here might be a little problematic because this piece right here is a little bit thicker. Let's find out how thick this one is here. So if it's 0.17 inches wide, if the drawing says 0.17 inches, in reality it's about 4 inches. That's not too bad. That's probably okay. So let's talk centerpieces as scaled to the room. Okay, let's say your client really likes this big tall centerpiece, but their banquet room has only 10-foot tall ceilings. So let's go ahead and draw a line. And what would 10 feet tall? So if the reality is 10 feet would be 120 inches, right? That you can do it this way too. You go 10 feet times 12 inches is 120. So that would mean my line needs to be 5 inches. So we click on that and we can go here and change that to 5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and change that to 0 so my line is actually vertical. So if the room had 10-foot ceilings and we lined this up with the bottom of the table, there's your 10-foot mark. So this centerpiece at this scale would not fit a 10-foot ceiling. It would be way too short. Okay. If the ceilings were this tall, and let's say 6 inches, that would be a 12-foot ceiling. You could get away with a 12-foot ceiling. I would be looking at what kind of lights are on the ceiling. If you've got the halogen lights or other hot lights, that could be problematic for a 3-foot balloon. So that's how you can scale it to the room. 12-foot ceilings are pretty common. So you could literally, in your drawing, I'm going to go ahead and open up another page here. Insert page. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to select all of these centerpieces right here. Copy. Go to my new page, paste, Control C, Control V is how I did that. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a line that is 6 inches. And 0. So that 6 inches again represents a 12-foot ceiling. Okay, so we've got a 12-foot ceiling. And that would look okay. This is a little short, but for a little short centerpiece, I think that's all right. Okay, so I think that covers some scaling. Other sizing issues we may have if you wanted to, make the topiary smaller. Make sure your lock aspect ratio is done. Click there. If you wanted the topiary to only be 1 foot in diameter, then this would be 0.5 inches. Did that work? Oh, it only selected some of them. Oh, how funny is that? Let me undo that. And let's go back to here. 0.5 and 0.5. Oh, you know what I did? I didn't group it. Okay, so we need to group it first so it is 1 unit. Now we can go in here, lock it, and do 0.5 inches. Okay, so for a topiary that is only 1 foot in diameter, that's what that would look like if you wanted something smaller. If you wanted it 18 inches in diameter, that would be 0.75 inches. Okay, and if you don't know the math, you can go back here to the ratios. So in reality, if you wanted 18 inches, it would be 0.75 inches on the in the drawing, just like that. Okay, that's how that all works. Don't know how tall the stick is? You can click on it and you can see it's 1.12 inches tall. And that's about right where the topiary would be sitting. Yep. You want to make sure that the post starts on whatever platform you have down here and ends right about in the middle of the topiary, because that's how it would sit if you were to build it. And we're at 1.22 inches. So in the drawing it's 1.22. So in reality that's about a 2.4 foot tall post. I know that the Lomi stands, I think they come in 30 inch. We change it to 30 inches. That would be 1.25. We can come up here and change it to 1.25. So now you've got something that's to scale. We can move that up a little bit. If you want your stick to be forward so you can see what you're doing, you can put it at the front like that. And now as you move your topiary ball, you can see where it is relative to the stick. Alright, let's see, what else can I say about scale? I think that's it. Well, let's talk about this little double bubble here just for a moment. I just separated the double bubble. And if you want to know how big these balloons are, this outer balloon is 0.67 inches. So 0.67, it is about a 16-inch balloon. So that would be like a fully inflated 16-inch latex balloon. If you wanted it only 14 inches, you don't want it to be stretched completely, you can change that to 0.58 inches. 0.58, now that's a 14 inch. I know I'm going through this a little quick, but you can play the video over and over again. So what's the inside? Okay, so I can't click on the inside balloon, so what you do is you send the big balloon back a layer. And now it's back a layer, so that's how you can select it when you've got balloons layered on top of balloons. Just control the layer by sending them back and forth up there. So this inner one now is 0.46 inches. Go back to my spreadsheet. If the drawing says 0.46, in reality that's an 11-inch balloon. Let's say we wanted a 9-inch balloon in there. That would be 0.375. We'll change that to 0.375. So you can see the different ratios. Okay, let's say customer wanted something really small in there. Let's say they wanted a 5-inch balloon. So we'll put 5 in there, and that's a 0.208. So we can come back here, and we can change that to 0.208. So that's what a 5-inch balloon would look like inside of a 14-inch balloon. Okay, maybe we want to do a gumball balloon. I'm going to go ahead and enlarge this a bit. Okay, so that would be, and you know what, I'm going to color these in. We'll just go ahead and color them white. And if you wanted to take the time to, I didn't want to do that. If you want to take the time to rotate them a little bit, you can do that, as if though they were just laying inside of a balloon. I wanted to show what a gumball balloon could look like, because they're not all in there at pretty angles and stuff. They're just kind of tossed in there. That would be one way to show how to do a gumball balloon. Then you could group, and you could put it on top of your topiary like that. Okay, that's really ugly. I don't think I'd do a gumball balloon like that. Either that or the drawing just isn't doing it justice. Okay, so I think that's it on scale. We've talked about how to control the size of the table. We've shown how to draw a line for reference for ceiling height. We've talked about how to control the size of the balloons a little bit. So that's all about scale. This is Raquel Porter with Balloon Splendor.